So could you really merge with someone who you once thought was your competitor? These guys did, and we'll tell you the story next on Hampton Roads Business Weekly. Have you ever started a business and then recognized that maybe you should merge with another? Well, our guests today, Kevin Daisey and Erik Olson of Array Digital, did that exact thing. So the first question, how did you know? Because you guys both had started your own businesses several years ago. They were both decently successful, but then you kind of realized maybe together would be better. How did it come to?
Sure. We were a programming shop, so we did a lot of programming and very kind of hardcore programming, a lot of databases, APIs. But we would get these projects where people needed web design, and they needed SEO, and they needed social media. I think Kevin was in a similar situation where his company, ID Web Studios, was a web design company that did marketing websites. But the moment that anything got a little more complicated than a WordPress website or social media, he had challenges. So we both individually, before we met each other, had challenges fulfilling the entire spectrum of all of the services that our clients needed.
Right.
So we either partnered with someone else that could fill in those gaps, or we would do some of it, or we'd outsource or subcontract, and it was less than ideal. About a year and a half ago, maybe at this point, maybe a year ago, we met each other at an event, an EO event in downtown Norfolk. And I went over and I introduced myself to Kevin, and I told him that I had heard of ID Web Studios before, and just wanted to meet him and see.
Your SEO was working.
That's right.
Just wanted to see if there was any opportunity to do some work together.
And so
we got talking, we got to know each other. Some projects came about that came to me that required exactly what they offered. So I called Erik up, let the client know that, hey, we were going to bring in this other company that I trust. Been talking with them for months. I think they have the skills that we need to get this project done for you. And so we kicked that off. That project went very well. And next thing you know, we have both our companies working side by side together for the next few months. And so as more projects started to come up, we started to talk about this more.
So the cycle kept happening over and over again,
Absolutely.
basically. And then at some point you guys said, hey, maybe we should merge, or?
We were all out to lunch, I think it was, and I said something to the effect of, you realize if we joined forces, we'd kill it. And we all kind of agreed that, yeah, that would be a good idea, but it was super preliminary. It was just kind of said in jest at first. And then it started to come up more and more and more. So as we continued to work on projects, we went from the first project to second to third, and our teams started to actually interact with one another at the staff level. We realized that there actually was an opportunity. So it was literally our skills and their skills coming together to form a new, bigger company.
They say when you have a partner, it's a marriage. How did you guys understand that maybe this would be okay? And also, still both be founders of a business.
Yeah.
Sure, so I'll talk about that. So I feel as if we spent quite a bit of time thinking about this. We worked together for 10 months on multiple very large projects. And we kind of saw our teams really connecting well. So that was kind of a really good sign. We hadn't had any issues, we hadn't had any falling outs, we had nothing like that was happening. We talked about it. We took our time. We talked about it in October of 2016 about, hey, let's do this. We did not start actually doing anything about it until January the next year.
The actual logistics behind it.
Exactly. So, of course, there's a lot involved. There's wrapping up your books for the end of the year. There's a lot of things that you have to do in a business. We took our time, I feel like. Of course, the day it happened, it was like, wow, this is, seems very sudden, right? There's a lot of work that goes behind it. So I think we took our time, and I think we also realized with a project that came about that we both bid on together, some lessons learned out of that were we were not at the capacity. We didn't look as transparent to that customer as we would have if we were together. So
And so really understanding, getting out of that honeymoon, that this is something that's possible, and then kind of agreeing that's it. But we'll talk about the logistics in part 2 of the merge next week.